let me first thank Eddie O'Hare. Is this on? Can you hear me okay? Let me first thank Eddie very much for this, and thank you, Marlene. It's really a pleasure working with all of you. I'd like to thank the chairman of the Australian Committee, my dear friend Emmanuel. I'd like to thank Eleni Cubitt for coming all the way here. I'd like to thank George Bezos for coming all the way here. I would like to thank all of you for coming here today and hearing what some of us have to say. I'd like to tell you about this struggle and what we are each doing as our part in this struggle. Today is a very significant day in that this is the day when the three largest organizations in the world who are advocating for this cause have come together to have our first joint conference, this colloquy, to discuss this issue. We hope that we are able to do that again in the United States, where it will be my pleasure to host. Emmanuel will do the same in Australia, and we will continue to cover the globe, as it were, to discuss this. It's also significant because at this particular time, I think it's very important that we are able to demonstrate to the world how we are unified in what we are trying to do. There are about 16 different organizations in the world who support this cause, and we need to bring everyone together to advocate for this. That's part of the reason that we created the New Missing campaign, that you can see some of the pictures that we'll be launching formally tomorrow. This is a new initiative that I'll talk about later in the afternoon, but it's aimed at really creating a grassroots opportunity and grassroots movement worldwide. So wherever you are, if this is something you want to support, you can simply go to this website. You can have access to all these images. You can learn about what these three committees have done, are doing. Hopefully you can be inspired and you can do something about it yourself. So it's a very significant thing, and significant that we're doing it here together, again, to show our collaboration. Now, Eddie asked, when we were all going through this, Eddie thought it would be significant for Emmanuel and I to tell you about ourselves, our committees, what we've done, you know, in the United States and Australia, respectively. So I'll do that. I first became involved in this about 15 years ago when I was researching my postdoctorate LLM thesis, and it was just called the Elgin Marbles at the time. That was this issue. It was about the Elgin Marbles. That was it. I was not very happy. I was not pleased with the literature that existed at the time regarding this cause. I didn't think that the legal analysis was correct. I did not think that there was any opposition to the to the legal argument of the Brits, and it inspired me. It angered me. It inspired me, and I wrote what's become a pretty significant law article. It was published in a top 10 law journal in the U.S. It's been cited now by hundreds of lawyers, scholars, competing authors, and it's a mandatory read in many syllabi of law schools across the United States for intellectual property and international law. It's from there to today, I've given over 50 lectures across the United States in these past 15 years and abroad. And we ran the numbers, and I've actually spoken to over 10,000 people. It's amazing to think of how many miles we're talking about and how many people you know that I've reached to give the message to. I've spoken after church services. I've spoken in museums, at associations, at festivals, at conventions. I've even given 4 continuing legal education courses, teaching other lawyers about cultural property, international law, and the need for protecting source countries and their cultural patrimony. That's been very rewarding as well, convincing other lawyers as to the rights of Greece and to these particular sculptures. And I've also published over 7 legal articles in dozens of newspapers, magazines. The goal has always been to spread the word, to tell and teach people what the cause is about, why it's significant, and why it cannot be let to go. So, I'm also very proud to tell you that in less than 2 months, my first book will be published on this cause, where I will be arguing again why these sculptures need to be returned to Greece. It's the goal. The goal has always been to see how many people we can reach. How do we spread this as much as possible? This book, it took me a very long time to put together with my schedule. I did. I'm very happy. The goal is to, again, spread the word to as many people. A book can travel. A book can be anywhere people can read it. Same with the campaign. It's on the internet. Anyone in the world can get it. The more people who are exposed to this idea, the better off we all are. So, what about the rest of the committee? Us Yankees across the pond. What do we do? Why are we involved in this fight? Equally so for the Australian committee. Why is this our battle? This is a dispute seemingly between London and Athens. Why are we involved in this? Why is this such an integral part of my life and your life, Emmanuel? Well, Emmanuel, you'll tell us about yourself, but I can tell you about the Americans, and their hearts have never left Greece. The support they've given to me and to this committee over the years has really been what's kept this passion alive. You know, I have wonderful fellow board members, Peter Yelanis, a photographer, Costa Vaxavaneris, the designer who came up with the entire campaign, Tina Papadopoulos, Eleni Daniels, who assisted Marlene. They worked together extremely well in promoting this and putting all this together. Everyone coming together in a this is a voluntary. Everything we've ever done is all voluntary. Coming together, again, to give their best talents together, to contribute to this cause, to make the most people possible hear what we all have to say. So, I think also what has made me proud over these last 15 years is not just the work that I've done in the States, but I think also the people whom I've had the pleasure of working with, and that includes old friends, people who have led by example for me. Emmanuel, you're right there, showing me that not only is it okay to fight for a seemingly unknown or very littly known cause, but to devote a significant portion of your life to it. Elena Corca, equally so. It's very difficult to find people who have inspired me, but I certainly have, and always available, always there with positive support, and it's significant. I have recent friends who continue to inspire me. The board members of the committee, Eleni Cubitt, Marlene, George Bezos, Tom Flynn, Anthony Snodgrass, people that I've known maybe for a few years, and yet people that I see are passionate about the cause, are making a difference, are contributing and spreading the word. Those are people who inspire me. Eddie, haven't known you for a long time. I'm extremely impressed with you and your passion for this, and that's what we need. The list goes on. Dennis Tritaris from Australia. Haven't met him, but very excited, informed, doing his best to help. Nikos, Dr. Nikos Haziandreas, we've known each other electronically for years. We just physically met, a few weeks ago, and it's already very impressive how much you love the cause and fight for the cause, and that's what we need. That's what this is about. This is not about one committee. This is about all of us, again, fighting for this cause. So with that, let me zip through this PowerPoint to show you some of the things. I think it's pretty clear for everyone. Some of the things that we've done in the States. Let me start with our logo. We introduced this logo about a year ago. Constantine Vaxiveneris, the same gentleman who created the Missing 1801 campaign, is the creative director of the American Committee. He created this logo. I'd just like to read quickly his description, what it meant to him in creating this. Okay, his first thoughts were obviously to think Hellenic, and my goal was to develop a non-cliche Hellenic visuals and incorporate an American flair as well. After many drafts of stars and stripes, columns, and stylistic Parthenon pediments, he decided to go with a visual element using the horse from the chariot of the moon goddess Eleni to represent and identify the cause for the return of the Parthenon Marbles. I felt it was a perfect fit. The powerful image of the horse's night-long labor as the embodiment of the struggle faced by Greece in its ongoing battle for the reunification of the marbles should be the soul of both logos. He also developed a logo for our traveling exhibition, so that's what he's referring to. He developed quite a few variations, but he needed a Greek element. Otherwise, it looked like any other horse drawing, so he added the Greek key to mark, and he experimented in circling the logo, and he needed it to not be framed by borders, to be free to demonstrate the choice in representing a conscious effort to resolve the dilemma. So everything that we've done, we spend a tremendous amount of time in really carefully being sure of what we are putting together and why we are putting it together. And Gos's work demonstrates that as well. I think it's impossible for anyone to read that, but that's just essentially it says what the mission of the committee is. We're a non-for-profit, completely non-for-profit organization. We were granted that the official status by the American government, by the IRS. And it took me 14 months to convince the IRS, by the way, to give us non-for-profit status. Fair enough. Their position was, well, this is a dispute between England and the United States. Why do you, Mr. Reppas, feel you deserve non-for-profit status? Anyway, it took me 14 months to explain to them why, and I ultimately did. So again, what I do, the bulk of what I do is I lecture. I was just at the Ohio State University just a few weeks ago. Several hundred people attended that. This is 2 lectures I gave in Baltimore recently to a high school and then to a civic organization that night. Let's see. Here we are in San Francisco on the left, in Boston on the right. Where is this? This is in Norfolk, Virginia. That is in a museum in Coral Springs on the left. On the right is University of Michigan. I was very fortunate to be asked by the Archbishop to be the keynote speaker at Founders Day annual convention in St. Augustine, which memorialized the very first Greeks who landed in the United States. There's a wonderful little church that they built, and every year they memorialize that. So I was very pleased that they asked me to come and speak to all of them about our cause and the significance of what we do. This is a CLE course in New Jersey. That's another lecture. This is the first lecture I gave with Tony Snodgrass in Washington, D.C. A few years ago. There's another one in Boston. Different festivals that we've gone to. some of the pictures that we were very fortunate to take, and which form the basis of our traveling exhibition, which, by the way, has been to 5 different cities, scheduled for 2 more. And it travels and shows all the photographs that we took from inside the Parthenon. It has information about the cause, what we are doing, what we have done, and again continues to spread the word. There's some different lectures. Michael Dukakis, I got a call in my office, and it was Michael Dukakis, and I happened to have a client whose name is Michael Dukakis, not the former politician. So I pick up the phone and I said, "Yashmitali, how are you doing?" And it turned out to be, this Michael Dukakis, the former presidential candidate. And funny enough, his response was, "Yashmitali, how are you doing?" Great. So we just started laughing, and there you go. And he asked me to fly up to tell him about what I do, what the committee does. He wanted to see the exhibition, and I worked my schedule, and I went up to see him, and now he's an honorary. He's the honorary chairman of our committee. Again, if people learn about what we do and why we are doing this and why this is all voluntary, I think people are very impressed. Even with my book, everything that the author should receive, I'm donating it right back to the committee, because this is not about any one of us profiting. This is about us really spreading this word. That's what His Eminence. Amazing experience. This is recently, a few weeks ago. There's Dr. Andres, myself. There's Elena and myself at the last convention. All of these, there's George Bezos and I, and Eleni Cubitt when we met at the UNESCO convention several years ago. There's Emmanuel and I at the HEPA convention several years before that. I think right before the museum actually opened. Yeah, July 2008. I had to dig through the archives to find this amendment. And again, here's the exhibition, which Dr. Corco was instrumental in helping us, accomplish. And why did we want to do this? Let me speak of this real quick. We also had the first Black Tie Gala event for the Greek community in all of South Florida. It was gigantic. Never has an event like that took place. We brought a mural artist. We had auction tables. We sold tables, and we generated funds so we could actually pay for the exhibition, for the cost of all the printing and the framing and all the artist costs and all the museum costs, and we were successful in doing that. By the penny, but we were successful in doing that. There were hundreds of people who attended that event as well. We had bands that came and played. It was a phenomenal evening. We had an award-winning tango quartet, Grammy award-winning tango quartet to perform for us. A mural artist as well. And this exhibition from photographer Peter Yelanis. We were in the Parthenon for 8 days in 2007, and we were allowed to take photographs to show really a different side of the Parthenon. The whole purpose of this, and I think the reason that it's been successful is because everyone I've spoken to, when I ask them, well, tell me about the Parthenon, they all describe the same thing. They're about 250 yards away. Parthenon they see in the background. There's the nice, beautiful attic sky behind them. Sometimes there's a cloud, sometimes there's not a cloud, I guess depending on the disposition of the person at the time. Everyone has that image of the Parthenon. Well, what I've always done, and the way I always discuss and present this, is I want you to see a different way of looking at this debate. It's not just the old debate that you may have known. There's a lot of facts and a lot of material that you're not aware of. So I ask people, just be open-minded. Listen to what I have to say. Think about other things that maybe normally you wouldn't think of. And the same thing, too, with this photo shoot. By going in and taking new angles and new different pictures and showing people the Parthenon, that you can show them the beauty of this beyond that one image they have in their mind. And various people are moved by this. I mean, Michael Dukakis, demanded I fly out to explain to him how significant, because he was moved. Everyone who's seen these images, is moved, and that's our goal, moving people. I mean, some of these pictures are ridiculous. Okay, and then so the lectures. Let me tell you a little bit about my my forthcoming book. It's the title is "Why Don't We Just Sue the British Museum?" As a litigator, when I present my lectures to people, I've always done it in that I set people to act as jurors. I ask you to sit, and I just ask you to listen to how I present to you the facts of what happened. I go through in detail and I show historically this happened, that happened. I set forth the arguments, all the traditional arguments raised by the British Museum, all the counter arguments there too, and I discuss it. I present it to them, and effectively I ask them, please render your verdict at the end of my presentation. So when I finally had been pressured long enough to create a book about this, I thought, wow, this is an opportunity for me to do something very unique, and to present this same cause in the way I always have, in something different, in a different way. So with the goal being of letting students, more than anything else, have an opportunity to learn and argue this, I sort of created this book to reflect that. So it opens up, and you, the reader, you find yourself in a trial, and you are sitting in a jury panel, and here is Mr. Reppas giving the opening statements for this trial. And it goes through, and it does just that. So it's a new way of looking at it, and at the end, it compels you to render a verdict. And I've also done that because I think it's a very effective way of reaching people is when you get them to participate, and by drawing them in, rather than just a simple, traditional historical account, or a biography. Having an active type of book that involves people, and I think it's going to be very successful. And again, the goal is really to draw on the 21st century, to draw on the youth, to give them, how many lectures I've given, and kids come up to me, and they ask me questions. There was one 8-year-old boy I remember at church, and he came up, he said, why don't we invade? Why can't we just invade and take them back? Fair enough. But even an 8-year-old, understands that this is not right, and this has to be remedied. It needs resolution to it. So again, part of what we need to do is to do exactly this, to try to inspire people, to try to spread the word as much as we can, and to work together to achieve that goal. So let me conclude. I'd like to conclude actually by defending myself and all of us for making this decision to have this event here in London right before the Olympics. I actually got a lot of slack from a few two columnists in Miami came at me, I would say, pretty hard, for doing this and trying to imply that there was, something trying to harm the Olympics, or anyway. So I wrote something that's actually got picked up in 3 different wires. But let me just read it for you. For some people, there will never be a right time to fight for the repatriation of the Parthenon sculptures. Wait until the Olympics pass. Wait until the economic crisis passes. Wait until the British Parliament reconsiders the issue. Just wait. Wait. Wait for someone else to act or some unrelated event to transpire. The American Committee believes, however, that more than enough time has been spent waiting. The American Committee believes that advocacy of this issue should never be delayed, postponed, or abandoned. We will not advocate when it is only convenient to others. We will not wait for others to tell us when it is okay to fight for our history. We will not stop until the cause is won and the Parthenon sculptures are back in Athens. Today, we send a message again to the world that we are united in that goal. I thank you all very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.